Hello and welcome back to the Sober Scoop. My name is India Gantz. I'm the host, and if you're new around here, welcome. The Sober Scoop is a platform to help people get sober, stay sober, and thrive in an alcohol-free lifestyle. I have been sober since June 20th, 2024. I did not go to AA, I did not go to rehab, and while those are amazing resources that you should utilize if they are right for you, I did not utilize those. I just didn't quite feel drawn to them, and I kind of wanted to attempt sobriety on my own terms, and so that's what I did. The reason I'm saying this is because sometimes my approaches to sobriety are a little bit different than what you might read online, and I just share what's worked for me. I just want to put my thoughts out there in the off chance it might help somebody. So welcome to the Sober Scoop. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about day 3. This is one of the most common questions I get asked. People are always like, I can't get past the first 3 days. How do you get past day 3? For some reason, I don't know if scientifically there's some sort of chemical imbalance going on, but day 3 is the day that people start to struggle. For some people, it's day 7. For some people, it's day 30. But that magical day 3 number is something that I so often hear about. So while there is no hard and fast rules that are going to work for everybody, I do want to provide some tips that I have. Some random tips that might help you as you are navigating those very early days of sobriety. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Sober Scoop. This is a judgment-free zone where we talk about how to get sober and stay sober. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Quitting alcohol is the best decision I've ever made. So for starters, I do believe that knowledge is power. And if you know that day 3 is going to be hard going into sobriety, you can prepare for it. I think it's when you go in blind and you just expect that your life is going to totally change and everything's going to be better immediately. That's when day 3 is hard, because you get hit with a wave of emotions and heaviness on that day 3. And if you weren't expecting that, you're like, what the heck is going on here? So I think for starters, go into sobriety knowing that on day 3, day 4, somewhere in that range, you might not feel 100%. You might start questioning your decision. You might be overwhelmed with an influx of emotions. A lot is happening there. Physically, there is that chemical imbalance. Your blood sugar is out of whack. You might be dealing with some withdrawals. Step 1, I think, is go into it knowing that you might be a little out of whack, and that is okay. Have open communication with your doctor. I didn't, and I was okay, but I'm never going to outwardly advise that. Open communication and being safe is better than being sorry. So just have to throw that out there. You might not feel like your usual self. You might feel a little emotional. You might feel sad. You might feel happy. Depression, feeling very, very low, is a very common symptom in early sobriety. But on the other side of things, I experienced what I now know as the pink cloud, which is a state of ultra elation. I was feeling so good where it was almost manic. It didn't feel like a normal happiness. It felt really manic. Almost like a bipolar episode of just ultra elation and happiness. I was so high on life, it actually felt weird. And so I looked up online, I'm feeling extremely happy, almost a manic state after quitting drinking. What's going on? And of course, articles about the pink cloud immediately pop up. It is a common symptom, but also common is being depressed and feeling really low. And once the pink cloud wore off, then I felt really low. So, everybody's going to be different, but I think just knowing that you're going to feel a little different, something's going to be happening, I think it's helpful, right? If you go into it knowing that you're not going to feel great, you might be feeling different emotions, then you can just prepare for that and understand that that's going to be happening in your early days of sobriety. So number one is just go into it knowing that that might happen. Number two, impulse control. I made a whole episode about impulse control because this is a bold statement, but I believe that impulse control is at the center of addiction for a lot of different substances. But I think having the lack of impulse control is really what takes people down that slippery slope with substances. So impulse control generally is, you have a craving, you have an impulse, an urge, and it's just how well you're able to manage that. And at least for me, when I was a drinker, the thought would pop into my mind, I want a drink, and I'd be cracking open the drink. There was no thought. It was instant gratification. I think that goes hand in hand with that like dopamine that we are seeking as drinkers. We want that instant hit, basically. And I really had no impulse control. And I didn't even know that impulse control was a thing until I got sober. And basically, those thoughts still pop into your head. I remember in the beginning of sobriety, I would just walk into the kitchen and instantly feel that craving for alcohol. Like just being in the kitchen. It was not associated with like having people over and hosting and cooking or anything like that, or eating. The kitchen to me was tied to alcohol. And I would just pass by the kitchen and have a craving for alcohol. Because when I was a drinker, every time I would pass the fridge, I'd crack into a drink. I was one of those drinkers that drank all day long from morning until night. I basically wanted to maintain like a 2-beer buzz all day long, essentially. So every time I walked into the kitchen in sobriety, I had that impulse to grab a drink. And impulse control is something that I really had to learn in the beginning of sobriety. I did quite a bit of research on it because I was very self-aware that it was happening, that I was having the cravings, and I wanted to like be able to control those. Because that's when people slip back into drinking, is they have that impulse or that craving and they give in, because that's what we've done for so long. We have no impulse control. The thought pops into our mind, I want a drink, we go and crack into a drink. That's been the routine. And so in sobriety, the thought pops into my head, I want a drink. And I had to learn that I just need to take a beat. Okay? The thought pops into my head, I want a drink. And instead of instantly going and grabbing a drink, I think to myself, why do I want that drink? Why did that thought pop into my head? Was it because I'm physically in the kitchen and there's that muscle memory of grabbing a drink? Was it somebody is frustrating me and I want to just drink away that frustration? Is it because I have a work meeting later and I'm stressing out for it? Let's look at the work meeting, for example. I still stress a lot about meetings and Zoom meetings. They make me really nervous. But at least I would just drink away those nerves. There are better ways to deal with nervousness. There are physical ways to deal with nervousness, like breathing methods. And as woo-woo as that sounds, they really do work because they physically like slow your heart rate. I do what's called box breathing. It's in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and repeat. But anyway, also, nerves often come from being underprepared. So, for example, that work meeting, I'm probably nervous for it because I don't know what they're going to ask. And I don't feel like I know the material well enough to be able to answer anything that they might ask. So I think nerves often come from underpreparedness. So in sobriety, it's like if I had an impulse for a drink and I realize it's because I'm nervous for my meeting, just recognizing that is so powerful. Like, oh, I'm craving a drink because I'm nervous. So let's rewire that impulse, okay? I'm nervous. That's the impulse really, is like, I'm nervous. So let's prepare. Let's go through some sample questions that they might ask. Let's write down a little cheat sheet with some go-to responses ready to go. Let's practice what I'm going to say. Like, something that's really helped me in sobriety is being over-prepared for things that are making me nervous, because drinking is something that I did to get over nerves a lot of times. Same goes for like if somebody is frustrating you, they said something that really bothered you. I think it's good to just take a step back and say, like, why did that bother me? Is it because it's untrue and maybe I need to go clarify that with them? Did it bother me because they said it in a rude way? Well, maybe they're projecting. Impulse control is all about just taking a step back and analyzing what's actually making you have this craving. So another crazy craving that I would get is when I was hungry. I used to literally drink Coors Lights instead of eating. For lunch, I might have 3 beers and just forego the food. Like, beer was my calories a lot of the time. And that's so bad. But in the beginning of sobriety is when I learned this. I learned that when I was hungry, I would crave a drink because to me, those feelings were associated. The feeling of hunger in my tummy made me think of alcohol because I used to just have a beer when I was hungry. And so sometimes I'm getting this impulse for alcohol and I have to take a beat and just say, wait a minute, am I actually hungry? Am I actually thirsty? Do I need some water? Do I need some food? Is my blood sugar low? Like maybe I need a sweet thing. It really makes you just in tune with your body. So impulse control is actually really cool. And I consider it almost like a superpower that I have attained in sobriety. Because impulse control is a pretty powerful tool in life in general, not just for when you're craving a drink, but maybe when you're angry and feeling like you're going to lash out, or you're really emotional. People respond to things with a quick jab just to get back at them really quick. Like, impulse control is super cool because not only do you learn impulse control with regards to drinking, you also learn it with regard to anger or something like that. Instead of immediately responding with a snarky comment, we learn to take a moment and think about what they said, why that bothered us, how best to move forward. Impulse control is just like Zen, and it gives you back control of your emotions. It's a very, very powerful thing. And so, in those first 3 days, I think you're almost just doing research. You are taking inventory in your head. And this kind of feeds into my next point. But when you have those impulses, try to take a step back and just try to analyze why you're having those impulses. What specifically is making you crave a drink? Your physical location, a person, an emotion, hunger, thirst. Try to get to the bottom of why you are craving that drink. Maybe it's a time of day. It could be really anything, but recognizing why is so important. And that leads me into point number 3, which is logging your cravings. Impulse control, when you're working on that and you're taking a step back and you're trying to figure out why you're craving a drink, log why that is and log what made you crave that. Like I've said, is it the nerves for the work meeting? Is it something somebody said to you? Is it a time of day? Is it a food drink pairing? There are so many different things that could make you crave a drink. So just log them, because every time that you have a craving, try to shift the meaning of that craving in your mind. Cravings are not bad. We think, oh God, why am I still wanting alcohol? I can't wait till I just don't think about alcohol. That would be a dream. But instead, shift that mentality to cravings are good. Every single time that you have a craving, you are building your tool belt to deal with those types of stimuli in the future. So it becomes 2:00 when the East Coast people log off of work. That's what it was in my situation. I was working from home and most of my team was East Coast. So they would log off at 2 p.m. and I would instantly crave a drink because I'm no longer in communication with these people. I'm not texting these people. They're not going to call me. And so 2 p.m. would make me want alcohol. And so I log that. You can write it down if you want. You can just mentally log it. I think writing it down is really helpful, having like a sobriety journal, cravings journal, something like that. So now I have that in my toolbox. I know that when 2 p.m. comes around, I'm going to be getting cravings. That's kind of what happens. I've logged that that's when I have cravings. And so, like I said in the very beginning, knowledge is power, right? And so if I know that at 2 p.m., I likely will have cravings for alcohol, then I can do something about that. Maybe 2 p.m. is when I schedule my lunch break and I go for a walk and I listen to a sobriety podcast and I get in that routine. You can rechannel that energy, but the knowledge of the cravings is the most powerful thing. Maybe a particular person at work makes you always want to drink. Every time you have a meeting with this person, you're like, my God, I want a glass of wine. Well, knowing ahead of time that that person makes you crave a drink, you can start developing different strategies. You can not work with that person as much if you have that option. You can decompress with somebody afterward. You can schedule your lunch break for afterwards. There are just different strategies that you can implement depending on the situation. But knowledge is power. And so log those cravings, because each craving that you have is just building your toolbox for the future. With the holidays coming up, maybe you know that a certain relative makes you crave a drink. Maybe you know that the holidays in general make you crave a drink because it's the holiday spirit and your grandma's going to be making hot toddies and whatever. Building that toolbox is so important because now that you've done one Christmas sober and you've logged your cravings, you know what situations make you want to drink. For me, it's Christmas morning, because to me, Christmas morning meant that all bets were off. I could start drinking openly in the morning in front of people. And it was like, oh, it's Christmas, so let's have mimosas. I would have to hide my drinking most days in the morning, but on Christmas, it was like, oh, let's morning drink. It's Christmas, right? All bets are off. Let's do it. So I know this Christmas, now that I've already dealt with that once, this Christmas, I know that I might be having cravings in the morning on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, when all bets are off. I might be craving an alcoholic beverage, and I know that going into it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make sure I have some fun drinks. Instead of drinking alcohol in the morning, instead I might have a soda in the morning. I don't usually drink soda in the morning, right? But maybe I'll make a dirty Dr. Pepper on Christmas morning as my fun, wild morning drink when all bets are off. Maybe I'll have dessert in the morning. I can still treat myself and do something that feels unique and special without diving into alcohol. And I have that preparation going into it because I've already experienced it. And I vividly remember the craving that I had on Christmas morning. So now I have that in my toolbox for this Christmas. It's such a powerful thing. Cravings are not bad. Cravings are your superpower. Cravings help build your sobriety toolbox. So log those cravings and don't look at them as negative things. Look at them as positives. You're building your toolbox. Okay, number 4. In those first few days, it's important to play it forward. This is a very common sobriety tactic. You just play the tape forward. That could be an hour, 2 hours, a day. You are looking into the future. So you think to yourself, man, it's Thanksgiving. Everybody's having a shot at the dinner table. And I really want to participate. And you feel really, really tempted. And it would be so easy to just say, yeah, I'll have one too. It'd be so easy. But take a moment and play it forward. Play it forward 20 minutes. You are going to be filled with so much regret. You told yourself that you're going to get sober and you already gave up. Play it forward 20 minutes and channel that guilt that you're going to feel. That's not worth it. I do not want to feel that guilt. I have said to myself, I am getting sober. I have made that promise. I'm not going to give up this easy. So play it forward 20 minutes and think how proud of yourself you're going to be that you did not take that shot. That shot that everybody's doing is going to last 5 seconds. Everyone's going to do a cheers, take their shot, and that moment is over. Play the tape forward and know that you're going to be so proud of yourself in 20 minutes once this toast is over. You're going to be so proud that you stayed sober. Then play it forward 2 hours, okay? If you had taken that shot, you think you're going to stop there? You're going to want another drink. And you're going to be filled with regret from taking that shot that you're probably going to want to drink away that regret. That's what I would do. I would feel so disappointed in myself that I would probably have another drink, and then another drink, and then another drink, and play it forward several hours to the end of the night, and you're drunk. Play it forward to the next day, and you are hungover. Again, you're disappointed in yourself. You're dealing with a hangover. You're dealing with this mental battle that you gave up on yourself and failed, essentially. For me, it probably wouldn't stop there either, because I'd wake up in the morning, I'd feel hungover, I'd want another drink to get through that hangover and the disappointment that I have in myself, and next thing you know, I'm back to my full-blown drinking problem. It is not worth it. It all stemmed from the pressure of that one shot at the Thanksgiving dinner table. That one shot is not worth it. So play the tape forward. Try to look into the future. And that has to do with that impulse control again, right? Because instead of just thinking everyone's doing a shot, I'm going to do a shot, and instantly just taking it, that would be no impulse control whatsoever. But now that we have impulse control, we take a moment. We reflect, why do we want that shot? Well, everybody else is doing it. Well, I used to do this shot every year. It's tradition, whatever the reason is. And then you also play it forward and just think about your life in the very near future, in the later future that evening, in the future the next day. Play the tape forward and just try to look into your little sobriety magic ball. You look into the future, play your life forward, and you see what it will look like. And that typically makes me not want to take that drink. It always makes me not want to take that drink. Especially the feeling of guilt, because I'm so proud of myself for getting sober. It was so hard. It took me so long to finally quit drinking that I do not want to fail myself. Sobriety is something that I've finally succeeded at. I tried every moderation tactic under the sun. Only drinking on weekdays, or only drinking on weekends, only drinking past 5 p.m., only drinking hard alcohol. I tried everything to moderate my drinking, and I failed, and that feeling is so horrible. Sobriety is the one thing I tried, and I feel like I've actually succeeded at it. So I do not want to feel the guilt of failure and the fact that I went against my word and I told everybody that I was getting sober and I failed. That usually stops me from taking that drink. And let me tell you, anytime that I've felt the pressure to drink, if I'm at a party or having to see an ex-boyfriend and I'm tempted to just drink because it's so awkward, any night that I've been so tempted to drink, I wake up the next day and I'm so happy I didn't. That feeling is unmatched. The feeling of pride and happiness that you will have for not drinking on a night where you felt pressured to drink is so powerful. That emotion is incredible. And if you're at a party or something and everyone's waking up hungover and groggy and you're just alive and well and fueled with this pride for staying sober, there's no feeling like it. I have never once in my entire life regretted not drinking. Every time that I felt pressured to drink and I didn't, I was happy about my decision. I've never been like, oh man, last night should have had that drink. I wish I had had it. Never. That feeling has never occurred. Even in the moment, if you are having a very strong craving and you are feeling tempted to drink, never in my life have I woke up the next day and wished that I had had that drink. I am always so happy and so proud that I stayed sober. So try to hyperfixate on that. Look forward to that moment. Look forward to the mornings. The mornings in sobriety are so special, by the way. The mornings are my favorite time. And those mornings where you could have drank and you decided not to are the best mornings in the entire world. So enjoy it. Moving on to number 5. Recognize that your blood sugar might be out of whack. I always say, I don't know the science behind this, but apparently alcohol metabolizes as sugar in your body or something. So when you quit drinking alcohol, your blood sugar is low or it's just out of whack. Okay. Sugar cravings are very, very common in sobriety, and your body is just craving that sweetness. And so as you're preparing to get sober, have some sweet treats at the ready. Okay. I go for diet sodas. I'll freeze some grapes. I really love Nick's ice cream. It's a low-calorie ice cream that is Greek yogurt based, so it still has the texture of ice cream, unlike Halo Top, sorry. But some of the low-calorie ice creams are just not that good, let's be honest. But Nick's is really, really good. It's like 300 calories for the entire pint. So in early sobriety, you can sit there and eat that entire pint. It's better than having 10 beers, right? That's what I always say. You have one rule in sobriety, and that is do not drink. In the early days, I should say. Those first 3 days, or that first week, that first month, I don't know. Your one rule is to not drink alcohol. So if you are experiencing those sugar cravings, have the ice cream. Go out to the ice cream shop instead of going to the bar. Get some cookies. Have the sodas. Just don't drink. And understand that your body is adjusting. Obviously, there is such a thing as transfer addictions. Okay, and you can get addicted to a whole lot of things. And we definitely don't want to transfer an alcohol addiction into something else. That's not great. But I say that you have one rule in sobriety or in early sobriety, and that is to not drink. I say that because your body's going through it. You're going to be craving sugar. You can't quit drinking alcohol and then also try to not consume any sugar and make sure to hit the gym and work on your nutrition and getting more protein and eating more fiber. It's like, whoa. That is just too much in the beginning. And I think a lot of people get this vision in the very beginning of sobriety that they want to do all this crazy stuff and become all these amazing things, because there are amazing things that will happen in sobriety, but it takes time. And in the very beginning, especially those first 3 days, I would say the first 3 months, but especially those first 3 days, just don't drink alcohol. Have ice cream for breakfast if you want. Have 7 sodas instead of 7 beers. Just don't drink alcohol and understand that your body is adjusting and going through it. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know if a professional might say, don't go too crazy with sugar, you'll get addicted to sugar. In my opinion, the body readjusts. I'm speaking from experience. I had crazy sugar cravings. Crazy. Insane, in fact. And it all leveled out. I still would say that I have a sweet tooth in life, but it's not as ravenous as it was in the beginning. I needed sugar. I felt a physical need for sweetness. And I gave into that. I just found some slightly healthier options like the frozen fruit, diet sodas instead of regular, Nick's ice cream instead of full Ben & Jerry's 1,200 calories a pint. I made some adjustments and I made it work for me. Number 6, you might be dealing with some hyperactivity, and all I have to say is keep busy. This is another one where you have to just trust that it's going to adjust eventually. But in the beginning, keep busy. Schedule stuff for yourself. I was so restless. Oh my God, I could not sit still. In the evenings, I wanted to be doing stuff. And so I did. I said, I'm only going to feel like this for a little while. And I really tried to have the self-awareness to just say, this is temporary. And I was doing yard work, I was doing housework, I was doing art projects, I was reorganizing, I was cleaning. I just kind of went crazy. And you make yourself busy. Sign up for that workout class and walk your little heart out. This is probably one of my top pieces of advice in sobriety, is to walk. Walking is literally like my medication still to this day. Sometimes I don't feel like a walk, but I know that walking works. At this point in my sobriety, I know that walking always works. If I'm having a craving, if I'm feeling funky, if I'm all in my head, if I'm restless and hyperactive, a walk always works. And as we're heading into the colder months, try to find yourself an indoor walking option, a treadmill somewhere. Maybe it's buying a walking pad for your house and walking while you watch TV. Maybe it's bundling up and going outside when you can. But with the days getting shorter, it's nice to have an inside walking option. But walking is just so good for you. Pop in a podcast, get your body moving. It takes your mind off of things. It takes all that restlessness and hyperactivity and puts it into something physical. Walking is amazing, and just try to keep yourself busy in those first 3 days. If you're just sitting around with nothing to do, the cravings are going to be crazy, because I know I used to drink when I was bored. So if I'm sitting around doing nothing, I'm just going to be thinking about drinking the entire time. Keep yourself busy. Keep moving. Schedule stuff for yourself. Meet somebody for a coffee. Go out for ice cream. Take a walk to your favorite bubble tea place and walk back. We just have to keep busy. Dive into something physical. And I think it's really great to have something to do with your hands. Maybe that's an art project, something I dove into that is so random, but I made balloon arches, for birthday parties and stuff like that. I loved the repetitive nature of filling up the balloons and tying them together and filling them up and tying them together and creating this kind of piece of art with balloons. I loved it. And it kept me really busy. And having something to do with my hands was amazing. So, yeah, book stuff for yourself. Keep busy. Even if you have nothing to do, you can make yourself busy. Do a closet clean out and then go to the thrift store to donate them and do a little thrift shopping. Do an arts and crafts. Make yourself busy. Just trust me. It's only temporary that you're going to be feeling that hyperactive and restless. So just dive into it and give in. Be productive. Go crazy. Be an animal for those first 3 days and just keep moving and keep busy. Also, little side note, your sleep's going to get worse before it gets better. I talk about the benefits of sleep in sobriety. Oh my God, my sleeping is incredible. I sleep like a baby every single night for 9 hours. It's fantastic. Best sleep of my life, when I used to wake up every single night between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m., which was horrendous. Never got a full night's sleep, never slept well, woke up tired every single day. Now I sleep all the way through the night, every single night. But in the beginning, for me, it was hard to fall asleep. So just to have that understanding that you might not be sleeping great right from the start, and that's okay. Keep investing in yourself and it will get better. Okay, and number 7, my last tip for you is to make plans in the evening. This very much ties into the last point about hyperactivity and restlessness, but specifically in the evenings. The evenings are such a triggering time for a lot of people, including myself. Because when I was a drinker, I would just sit at home and drink all night long. Those were my plans. I would drink and drink and drink and drink, and I lived alone. There was no one to keep me accountable, no one to judge me. The evening is also when I said to myself, now it's socially acceptable to drink. It's past 5 p.m. I don't have to hide my problem anymore. I don't have to feel ashamed anymore. It was my time to just let loose and drink. And I could go out to bars. I could stay at home and drink. The evenings were just the time where my drinking problem got sent into another orbit, let's just say. So in sobriety, the evening is a triggering time for a lot of people, including myself. And I think if you make plans for yourself for the evening, actual plans, on the schedule, you will do a lot better in those first few days. I remember the first evening that I quit drinking, I was so confused with what to do with my evening. And the evening felt like it dragged on forever and ever and ever. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that was the day that I realized there are so many hours in the day. The abundance of time is a blessing later in sobriety, but it is tough in the beginning. It is a battle. You realize how many hours there truly are in the day and how you don't have alcohol to just melt them away anymore. Now you're actually alive and awake and present for all the hours of the day, and the evening seems to go on and on and on and on and on. And so in the beginning, I advise that you make plans in the evenings. And if you are kind of doing your own thing in sobriety, I know I didn't want to tell everybody that I was getting sober. I was kind of on my own solo journey, which I do believe that there's a lot of value to community and talking to people who understand what you're going through. So quick side note also, we do have an online support group if you would like to join. It's a wonderful place where you can ask advice, you can give advice, you can share your successes, share your struggles. It's a really special place, and it does give you that feeling of community without like physically having to go anywhere. It's all online and it's totally free. So I'll leave the link in the description in case you want to join. But anyway, before I created this group, I was very much doing things on my own, and I didn't want to hang out with anybody because I was like, nobody gets what I'm going through right now. I am literally changing my life, completely altering who I am as a human being, and nobody in my life is going to understand. And so I recommend, if you are kind of in a similar boat that I was, where you're doing your own thing, still make plans. It doesn't have to be with anybody else, but book a 7 p.m. workout class. Because you're going to get off work at 5 and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is the time that I was usually drinking. But maybe you go on a walk. Maybe you pick out your outfit for the workout class. And then you got to drive there. You got to do the class. It's done at 8. You shower, you drive home, then it's 9 o'clock. And you've spent a good chunk of your day preparing and attending that workout class. And it just cuts down the amount of time that you are sitting around twiddling your thumbs, not knowing what to do without alcohol. I don't want you guys feeling like that. I hated that feeling. So find stuff to do, make plans for yourself, book things, book a nail appointment, book a hair appointment for the evenings. Anything that you can book in the evenings, do it in the evenings. Go for a walk, listen to a podcast, schedule a self-care night, do a face mask and your nails and your toes and a hair mask and dive into that. Pick up knitting and watch a show while you knit, and that is your plan for the night. Like I said earlier, do that closet clean out and then go drop it off at the thrift shop and do some thrift shopping. Thrift shops are typically open quite late. I think Goodwill closes at like 9, so that's pretty nice. But keep busy, find stuff to do, and schedule things. It doesn't have to always be booking and paying for something, but schedule something on your calendar. At 7:30 p.m., I am going to the gym and I'm walking on the treadmill while watching this show, and I'm going to set out my outfit and I'm going to make an electrolyte drink and make plans. Even if it's small and random and free and by yourself and literally nothing, make it into a plan. I used to love, this is another thing you can do in the winter for walking and getting your steps in. I used to go to the mall and I'd get a hot chocolate and I would just walk around and window shop and go in the stores. Malls open pretty late too. And I'd treat myself to a hot cocoa and I would walk around and get my steps in the mall and do my window shopping. So put that on your calendar if that's what you're going to do. Make it an actual event. It gives you something to look forward to. You're not going to be wondering what to do with your time because you already have it planned. It's already on the schedule. So you're not going to be thinking about alcohol and drinking it away. No, you have something to do. We have places to be. So have somewhere to be. Make yourself. Create some place for you to have to be. It's a really good feeling. So I hope that helps you get through the first few days of sobriety. You got this. Let me tell you right now that you are making the right decision to get sober. I'll be the first one to say you're doing the right thing. And it might be hard. It might challenge you in ways you've never experienced. You might be overwhelmed with emotions that you have always drank away, so they feel very overwhelming. But you can do it. People have done it, and you can do it too. Be kind to yourself. This is a difficult time, especially those first 3 days, but you already know that it's going to be difficult. So you're going into it with that knowledge. Knowledge is power, and you got it. Stay strong. Love you. And if you're enjoying the Sober Scoop, please make sure to subscribe. I release new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, and I would love to have you as part of our community. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.